Based on conversations with students over the years, this is probably a really good time to talk about pacing your project. So what is a good pace? At the very beginning of the project, you should develop a schedule. Work back from the due date, thinking about how much time it's going to take you to do each step that you need to do. Make sure to include a first prototype that's at least 1 week in advance of the due date. Plan to work on the project every day, front load as much as possible, and start right away. Why is this a good idea?
I like the analogy of a long backpacking trip. So let's say you've got to cover 200 miles and you have 3 weeks to do it. If you start right away and set a good pace, it's 10 miles a day. That's not too bad. You can do that. But let's say you wait a week before you start. Now you got to do 15 miles a day. That's quite a bit harder. If you wait 2 weeks, you got to do 30 miles a day, and it's practically impossible. You don't want to get yourself trapped like that. You got to see the trip and start right away with a good pace. Especially you got an exciting crew with you.
Now, some of you might be thinking, Professor Collins, this isn't my only class. I'm not just chilling when I'm not working on this project. And we know that, we understand. You might also be thinking, I have a certain amount of time and a certain number of things to do. And so what does it really matter what order I do them in? And these arguments make the implicit assumption that time is fungible, that this bit of time over here is the same as that bit of time over there. And it's really not. So let's walk through this. So first of all, how much time we're talking about? Well, this is a 12-unit course and a 3-week project. And you have some topic readings and videos and coaching sessions in there. So something like 20 hours of focused work for a typical student, and more if you're struggling with the material. So if you take 1 hour per day to work on the project over the 3 weeks versus the last 20 hours before it's due, it's going to go differently. And I think we intuitively understand this, but it helps to draw out why. And one big difference is the degree to which these approaches harness the power of your unconscious mind. So if you sit down and work hard on your project, focus on it consciously for an hour, when you move on to the next thing, exercise, sleeping, working on another course, there's some piece of the back of your mind that's still working on the project, trying to unravel those mysteries, trying to solve the hard problems that were, catching you up. And when you come back to the problem the next day, say, you'll find that you understand it better and you have better ideas about how to move forward. And you'll be way more efficient with that hour than if it had been tacked on immediately following the one from the previous day. So that's one important difference. Another important difference is that not all processes involved in completing your project involve your conscious effort. For example, if you spend an hour finalizing your design, setting up a print, and then hit go and move on to other things, your printer is going to keep working on the project for you for several hours. Now, if you've got a lot of calendar time left before the due date, then this is great. This is helping you out. But if it's at the last minute, this becomes a liability. So you can't make the parts print faster, right? Similarly, it really helps to have some cushion in the case that something goes wrong. So if, for example, you burn out your motor on the day the project is due, you won't be able to get a new one in time. But if that happens a week in advance, you'll be in great shape. So things usually don't go as we expect in design, as we all know. So it's a good practice to leave some buffer time. Now, I know this is hard. You're going to have many things that more obviously require time. That's a big part of the challenge. Other classes are going to have deadlines and problem sets and exams, and you'll have other things going on in your life. And we won't be demanding anything from you until the project is due. So sticking with your schedule is going to require thoughtful planning and self-control. And being able to do this in the real world is really important. This kind of thing happens all the time. So this is a good opportunity to practice. Make a schedule, stick to it, and you'll be successful in your project.